And I remember the first time I watched the TEDx talk and you asked that question, and I had to pause the video because I didn't know, I didn't have an answer. I couldn't think of an answer. And I didn't think I had ever heard anybody ask that question or anything like it in my entire life. My dad's a professor. My aunt is a math teacher. Like, all my friends are teachers.
Right.
Why is that question important?
Well, so we're going to spend 12 years of your life and $1 trillion every year to do a thing, and we call it school. Now, if I'm going to build a bridge, I know exactly what the bridge is for. And if I'm going to make macaroni and cheese, I know exactly what macaroni and cheese is for. Why can't we answer this question? How do you know if you're doing a good job if you're a math teacher? Because the purpose of math class, I hope we can agree, the purpose of math class is not to create a generation that can all do calculus, because no one does calculus. Even mathematicians don't do a lot of calculus. So what is the purpose of math class, and how can I tell if you're doing a good job? Now, if the purpose of school is to get A's, then let's just give everyone an A. That's obviously not the purpose of school. Maybe the purpose of school is to sort people into buckets so we can give some of them prizes and punish the other one. I'm not sure that's worth $1 trillion. Maybe the purpose of school is to have tests so that we can force people to comply. And in fact, I think that is the current purpose of school. I think school was invented to create compliant, obedient humans. And there are very few people in the school industrial complex who are willing to admit that, but that's what they do all day. And the second half of my argument is, if that's really what school is for, is that what we need? Do we have a shortage of compliant humans? Because if we don't have a shortage, why are we trying to make more of them?
So a question that comes up then is, what do you think formal education is going to look like in the next 10 years? Because my TEDx organizer, who's also a high school history teacher, he was on, it was one of the first episodes of the first season of the podcast. And he's got some fascinating ideas about school. And I pushed him on that a little bit because it feels like we're in the middle of, or we're about to be in the middle of a revolution in formal education.
Oh, yeah.
That it's going to fall apart really soon.
For sure.
And he doesn't think so. In spite of all of his interesting ideas about school, his thought was, there's a purpose to school that has nothing to do with what most people are talking about. And it's that kids have a place to go where adults supervise them in a safe environment.
Yep. I agree with that.
Okay.
I think that homeschooling done beautifully is really cool, but it is not the answer, because socialization is missing. Mm-hmm. And socialization fuels culture, and public school matters a lot. That's different than saying you should go $250,000 in debt to get a mediocre education at a slightly famous college so we can put you into a bucket so that as you're trying to pay off your debt, you don't get paid very well to do a job that a computer can do better than you. Because that's where we are right now. There's too many people being churned out to go into the bucket that too few good jobs want to come from. And we are using that bucket to ensure compliance for the 5 years before that, from 7th grade on. So what we're ending up doing is building mini prisons for 10-year-olds to hold on to them until they're freed to go get a minimum wage job and suffer, or until they are freed to maybe go to a school that's a lot like high school, but with more binge drinking, where they're going to end up in debt and not actually ever learn to learn. And so the crisis is going to happen for a couple of reasons. One, the people who can most afford to leave the system are already leaving the system. They're leaving the system to learn on their own, and then to get the kind of jobs where credentials aren't worth very much. And that's all the people who, the Bill Gates and the Mark Zuckerbergs, but also the people who aren't even going to college in the first place, right? But over time, more and more people are going to say, if I want to learn something, school is one of the worst ways to learn it. I'm going to learn it somewhere else.